it's me, Hannah. If you've been around for a while, then you may remember this. A chainmail jester look I made for the Renaissance Fair in 2 days a few months back. And if we share the same brain cell, you've also probably been thinking about it nonstop ever since. I'm planning on bringing this look to the Maryland Renaissance Fair in a few days. And while I think the idea of a chainmail jester comes across just fine as it is, I have a few ideas on how I can improve upon it and take it up a notch. Walk with me. Or I guess, sit with me. So I already have this, dare I say, beautiful headpiece, as well as a jester collar I've made completely from chainmail and bells, mandatory. But I think the two would look better if I connected them to be one piece, plus then the collar would stay in place. I definitely struggled to keep it from spinning around during the day when I wore it last. So that would be a bonus. I have also been loving the two-toned, split-colored tunics and corsets that I've been seeing from other people doing jester looks. So while I love my silver rings, I'm thinking about introducing a new color. And following my heart, that means that 3.5 thousand black aluminum jump rings are headed my way. But I have plenty still to do with these silver rings, so let's talk about it. Now I have a few different ideas on how I can incorporate the two-tone look into what I'm building. So we'll see what I can get done in the week I have until the next time I go to the Maryland Renaissance Fair, or less, depending on when my order arrives, but we'll see. So infinitely inspired by Juniper Rose over at Falconeer Shop, I want to introduce a chainmail version of tights, or stockings, or whatever you might call them, made from chainmail diamond shapes. Obviously, I'll want to come up with a pattern of black and silver diamonds, and then I'd also like to see if I can figure out a way to do a vertical stripe type of look as well. This is probably something that will require some serious brain power, but I think I'm up to the task, I hope. I also want to build on the existing hip pieces that I have, inspired by Lauren Does Cosplay's hip kits over at the Ring Lord, to essentially make myself a two-piece skirt of alternating black and silver panels. Obviously, bells are a must. Ma'am, you joining the video? I would also love to replace half of the panels on the collar with black rings. I don't know yet if I'd rather do alternating triangles or just split right down the middle to do the two-tone look. I want to say there are 6 to 8 panels on the collar, so it would work out either way. And depending on the time and the hand strength that I have left at the end of all of that, I would really like to make myself a little split colored chainmail crop top. And I think that's all the bells and whistles I'll have time for. So let's start with the piece that I am most excited and nervous about, the tights or stockings, or whatever you might want to call them. Kicking things off, I wanted a band at the top of the leg piece. I decided to use the European 4-in-1 weave for this and for pretty much the rest of this whole project, as you'll see. So to start, I like to just go through and close a bunch of the rings first before coming back and connecting 4 of the closed rings to make one 4-in-1 cluster. I then come back through again and connect a bunch of the 4-in-1 clusters to create rows. And then I continue to build out from there. Huge shout out to my friend Sel, who showed me the real power of the Tailor's Ham, which most people think is used for ironing, though I've never seen that happen. Rather, its rightful use is as a way to hold rings in place while weaving them together. I found this super helpful, especially for keeping things still while I filmed, so everyone say thank you, Sel.
Thank you, Sel.
I made this piece long enough to circle my upper thigh with a snug fit, but not too tight. In the end, the intention is to use a chainmail garter belt to do most of the holding them in place. The connection point here can get a little tricky when you're trying to line everything up, but if you're trying to do something similar at home, remember to just continue the pattern of ring orientation. That's really the key to any chainmail weave. Okay, so now that I have the top band of the first leg, the diamond leg of the tights that I'm working on, complete, I have added little markers sort of evenly distributed around the bottom to indicate where I want to have each of my diamonds start. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I want to start with inverted triangles, so like half diamonds, and then have the diamonds connect to those. So let's start making some diamonds and triangles together.
I'm still using the 4-in-1 weave for these triangles and diamonds, but we are building up each row. So I start with one ring and add 2 rings to it, then connect those same 2 rings from row 2 and add a ring on each side to complete row 3. And then I keep building up, connecting 2 rings from the previous row with 1 new ring, except for the ends, which get the increased treatment each time. And I'm sure it's not helpful to reorient in the middle of the explanation and start operating in columns versus rows, but it's definitely easier ergonomically for me, so sorry about that. Maybe I'll just rotate this like this? Yeah, that helps. Cool. I decided to only attach these top triangle pieces at the corners just to ensure I didn't lose the give that I had on this upper thigh piece, since that only just fit me perfectly. I don't know for sure that it would have made it any tighter, but I just didn't want to mess with what was working.
Okay, I know it looks really good with my sweat shorts, but I think we are onto something. I had a couple black rings left over from a previous project, so I just threw together the beginnings of another diamond, but I think I'm ready to go ahead and just heads down, churn through a bunch of silver diamonds while I wait for the rest of my black rings. I am so excited to put this together. I really think I can see the vision now. And then as for how I want to keep the stocking up on my leg, I think I'm going to take another cue from Juniper Rose and add a garter belt situation. That feels like the easiest solution to this problem. So I have a lot of 4-in-1s ahead of me with that. I also have to work through the diamond shapes. So cue the time lapses.
Making the diamonds is the exact same process as making the triangles, except that once you get to the width you're looking for, you start decreasing. I ended up making my large diamonds for the top row 10 rings wide, and then decrease the width by 1 ring with each descending row.
Okay, I think we're ready to move on to the next step of the process. I'm gonna leave just the one leg of the tights for now. Worst case scenario, I only have the one stocking, and I think that that is still okay. With just a few hours left today and then only 3 days after that to work on this, I think I'm gonna switch gears and go ahead and just like put on a movie and get to work on connecting the collar to the headpiece. It's gonna take some finagling. I think I'm gonna have to like, you know, zhuzh it up, really try and make it work, since currently the headpiece isn't just a straight line of rings across the bottom. It kind of like varies at different levels. So really just gonna kind of feel it out. But that's honestly a big part of this process, just kind of figuring it out for yourself, figuring out the patterns that work, how things drape after you've set them. A lot of trial and error. And that is another bonus for having a dress form, is I can just sit this in front of me and work on it directly to make sure it's all lining up for the like apparel pieces, obviously not for the headpiece. So I'll probably spend some time working on the headpiece and connecting it to the neck piece. But now that I have the black rings in, I do want to start to get to work on the hip panels, which I think for our purposes, it makes sense to just recreate this piece, but with the black rings. So essentially I will have 2 of these pieces and I'll just kind of layer them on top of each other with probably the silver on the sides and the black down the middle. Or if I wanted, I could do kind of a split on each side. I don't know. But I guess that's kind of the beauty of having the 2 different pieces, because I can kind of just spin them around to do whatever makes the most sense for the look. Not to mention, I have another piece of armor to play with, so perfect. All right, let's see what we can get done.
One of my favorite things about doing chainmailing is how easy it is to kind of just bring it everywhere with me. It's a beautiful day, end of summer, have a lovely breeze. It's probably not great for audio. I'm working on the hip pieces and it's basically just connecting a bunch of 4-in-1s, so having a nice environment for this might make this go by a little bit easier. Let's see what we can get done before the sun goes down. While working peacefully outside is probably a more preferred method, let's be honest, I'm a touch more chaotic than that. So knowing that I only have so much time left to work on this, I have other reasons for loving how transportable chainmail projects can be. All right, now that that's taken care of, let's finish up these hip panels.
Okay, so it is 10 p.m. the night before the Ren Fair. I have one stocking complete. I have the hip pieces at a point where I think they're wearable, and I have extended the length of the headpiece so that I can connect it to the neck piece. And I've removed a slit in the back so that I can have a tie-up situation back there. That's probably what I'm going to turn my attention to next. And then the hip pieces, I just don't know if I like them. So it might be a game time decision tomorrow whether or not I actually wear them. We'll just have to see. Right now, I don't like them. I had also started on working on like a top. This is what would have been split tone, and it would have been on this side, it would have been black rings with a silver chain. And I still really like that idea, but the way it was coming together with the collar and just, you know, knowing how much time I have left, I don't think I'm gonna get this done. So I did decide to just wear a corset and shimmies that I had already, and that'll give me a chance to kind of show off the stocking, but really highlight the headpiece, which is still my favorite. I still need to connect the collar to the headpiece. If I'm being honest, I'm kind of bummed about the progress that I've made so far on this project. Kind of feels like a lack of progress in my opinion, but I also remember how much fun I had wearing it before I had any of these upgrades or features, and I don't know if I'm gonna care tomorrow when I'm in my full Jester look. So overall, you know, I'm excited for tomorrow, and I am actually still really looking forward to wearing what I have been able to put together. Maybe this will just be an ongoing project for me. If you have any other ideas about what I can add to it or ways I can build this out further, let me know, because I have a lot of rings left over that I've started to use but then bailed on. Yeah, I could definitely see building this out further down the road, and that kind of excites me to have a nice ongoing project like this and just a piece that will come back to the Ren Fair every season, but with maybe 1 or 2 upgrades each year. So yeah, let me know if you have any ideas, and I guess I will see you tomorrow at the Ren Fair. Well, it started to rain, and I don't think it would be responsible of me to keep my camera out in the rain. So I've decided to cut the video a little bit short, and I do apologize. But to be fair, on top of not finishing the couple of pieces that I specifically had in mind for this final look, I also managed to break the clasp specifically of my stocking. So I had to basically hold this up the whole time or just take it off and sling it over my shoulder. So overall, kind of a frustrating project. That said, I've had a lot of really nice compliments on the look as a whole. I also had, before I broke the clasp on it, a lot of really nice words said about the stocking. I'm almost tempted to make another one or make kind of like the sister or cousin version of it. I just need to figure out how to ramp up the integrity of the, you know, the connection point there, the garter belt, if you will. The day is still young. I may just go back in with my phone and try and document the rest of it on there. Sadly, I will be without stocking, but if I'm being honest, there's definitely some room for improvements on top of just the strength of the clasp, but also I think I need to make some improvements as far as the like width of the belt goes to kind of disperse that weight a little bit better versus just the chain that I had wrapped around my waist. So I definitely have some opportunity there. Gosh, I love this look. There's just something about it that makes me so happy and feel so playful and confident and willing to just engage with people, which is not always my #1 attitude when it comes to being like part of a crowd. If you were at the fair this weekend and you said hello, please drop a comment. I'd love to say hello back again. And I really appreciate each and every one of you that stopped me to say hi and jingle a bell or two. And yeah, I love this look. It brings me so much joy. And I'm having such a good time. And if you had as much fun as I did, it would mean the world to me if you would like and subscribe. And if you do, I will see you in 2 weeks for my next video. Take care.
All the way that way.
angels I have surrounding me at all times. So, and that's just ready for the internet, ready to go right up on there. I'm here to take you. Oh my God. Quite the contour that this headpiece leaves.